Are you ready? Let's go.
When you're feeling bothered and your spirits low, your friends have turned their back and there's nowhere to go. Don't shed a tear, 'cause God will give you hope. If you're curious, then turn on. The Late Show with your number one man. Hope will light your heart. The Late Show, watch it 'cause it can. This is the Late Show starring Matt the
All the way from the land down under, from the heart of Melbourne, the most livable city in the world, the land of the kangaroos and koalas. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the one and only Matt the Man.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of The Late Show. I'm Matthew Unan. It's great to have your company once again. Have you ever wondered how people say they struggle to make ends meet, and then by the time you can finally make ends meet, they move the ends and you're thinking, no! Oh no! Two antennas met on a roof, fell in love and got married. The ceremony wasn't much, but the reception was excellent. A man inserted an ad in the classifieds. Wife wanted. The next day he received 100 letters. They all said the same thing. You can have mine. Okay, so on a more serious note, let's talk about a really serious topic tonight, bullying. Have you ever been bullied or treated like you're not worth anything? Have you ever been told not to bother chasing your dreams because you'll never make it? That you'll never achieve anything, so why even bother? Ever felt like you just don't fit in? Or sometimes felt ostracised or isolated? Maybe you've felt like you're not welcome and you just don't belong. It's not a great feeling, and guess what? You're not alone. A lot of people out there suffer from bullying. Perhaps you've seen or known someone who's been bullied and you've wanted to help them out, but didn't because you're too afraid that you'd end up being in the same situation. Or maybe you're an employee who feels like their boss makes them work harder than anyone else in the team and yet doesn't get appreciated for any of it. It can be very psychologically draining, and once again, you're not alone. Perhaps you've asked yourself, why God? Why does this have to happen to me? It's just not fair. Often when we think of bullying, we think of physical bullying and the damaging effects it can have when a bully punches, kicks, or pushes their victim. However, the emotional impact of bullying can often have a much more detrimental and lasting impact. The Bible teaches us to love our enemies. But how? It's pretty tough. Is it only the victim that needs our help? Or does the bully too? Tonight, I'm privileged to be joined by a professional human resources consultant who's gained a wealth of experience over several years working with people who've come to her for her guidance and support when they've been victimised or ostracised in the workplace. This lovely lady has seen firsthand the detrimental impact that different types of bullying, such as workplace bullying, psychological bullying, and even cyberbullying can have on young people. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the very lovely Marie Naylor.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for joining us tonight, Marie. It's great to have you.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Matthew.
So, Marie, I wanted to start off by looking at a particular verse, right? In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 39, it says, "Whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also." So where do we draw the line? And I suppose when a person's being bullied, where do you draw the line? Do you let people keep knocking you about and treating you unfairly? Because I look at the Bible and I think, even St. Paul, when he was being treated unfairly, he appealed to Felix the governor. So what do you think? Should we appeal? Should we stand up for ourselves, or should we let people slap us around?
I do agree with Christian beliefs that you turn the other cheek. However, in our society, bullying and harassment and ill treatment of people is becoming far more prevalent. And I think we also have to understand too that for the bully, the one that's perpetrating, they actually have their own issues, and they may not even realise that they've been a victim somewhere along the line. They may not even realise that their behaviours are adversely impacting on someone else. They may have feelings of empowerment when they bully someone. However, we still have to remember that we have a victim in this situation, and in order to move from that position as a victim, you need to take some action. Now, if you can't discuss the problem with the person, well, then you need to take it further to someone else.
Okay. But you should always try and approach the person.
Absolutely. If you feel that, if it's not adversely aggressive, like physically, well then the first thing that you should do, if you have the confidence, is to approach that person, because I think I've often found in the face of adversity, if you approach someone pleasantly, generally you can get a plateau where you can talk things out. However, if this has been going on for a while and the bully has support, then that may not be possible, and you may need to take it to someone higher, like a supervisor or a teacher or even a manager higher than the supervisor.
Yeah. But sometimes people are really afraid of the repercussions of speaking out. Let's look at a workplace scenario, okay, where maybe an employee is being bullied or treated unfairly by his direct line manager.
Yes.
For him to then go to his or that manager's boss and say, look, my manager's not treating me fairly, or to go to HR and then to take action, chances are it could come back to bite them.
Look,
so they're afraid to speak up.
I know that there are situations where a victim can feel that if they take action, is this going to escalate? Is it going to become worse? You have to remember, unless you do something, it is going to get worse, and it will continue. In terms of a situation where the bullying becomes worse, when you've gone to a supervisor and perhaps the goalposts are even moved yet again, or even your colleagues start to ostracise you, that's then when you need to make a formal complaint, because not only will the supervisor be disciplined, but the group will actually be spoken to. A lot of organisations, you'll find that they have policies, and they're very, very obvious up on walls and in company policies on the intranet. And people often need to be reminded that if they are isolating an individual, that is bullying, and they are contravening the policies of their organisation.
Okay, but let's say the employee has then gone and decided, okay, I'm not being treated fairly. I've approached my direct manager and said, this is what's happening, this is how I feel about it. Their conduct and their behaviour towards me hasn't changed. I'm still being treated unfairly. So they've then decided, okay, maybe I will take further action and maybe go speak to HR or to their boss. As a result of that, it's come back and the parties involved have spoken to the manager. But as a result, that whole team has then turned against that employee who was being treated unfairly, because they're worried about their own jobs and they've sided with the manager.
Then it becomes a HR issue, because the HR team are actually educated to respond and deal with that situation. They will need to interview each of those individuals that have become involved and to take the matter further. The victim also has the right, I will point this out, and not something that I would always encourage, but you have the right to go to the Fair Work Australian Commission and talk to them about it. You can get advice from them, and if there's not appropriate action taken within companies, the company can be reported. So then the action can be outside the scope of the organisation and be managed by the government department.
Well, let's hope it doesn't get to that.
Absolutely, because if it does, there's always a chance that further on down the line, the fact that you have a record of seeking outside assistance like that, or have been involved in something like that, may adversely affect your career progression. And it's always important to take action that you know further on down the track is not going to adversely impact on your career aspirations.
You said HR would get involved and
yes,
I suppose interview each of those people in the team individually.
Yes.
But if it's all of them against that one employee, what are his chances or her chances?
Well, then that means there's a serious problem within your organisation, which is generally led from the top down. So you would need to, it's HR's job then to employ outside people to come in and assist. They have psychologists that can come in and become involved with the discussion process with each and every one of the people in the department, because each and every one of them, if they are ostracising someone or isolating them, have become a bully. They have become a party to the inappropriate action.
Yeah.
And it's HR's job. I mean, HR, human resources, is actually help and rescue. You help people and you help rescue situations that may go very, very pear-shaped if they're left to continue.
Yeah. Marie, you've obviously had years of experience in HR. What are some of the detrimental impacts that you've seen over the years that are a result or consequence of people who've been bullied in either the workplace or in other scenarios?
You can have post-traumatic depression. You can have a situation where people won't go to work anymore, or they have increase in sick days. It impacts on the morale of the rest of the staff. If there's even observers of bullying can become victims too, because it lowers the morale generally of the whole team. We have situations where people have to have ongoing stress treatment, depression, and in really terrible cases we have a situation where people commit suicide.
Yeah.
And that's why this whole scenario has become such a serious social issue, and it must be addressed within organisations very, very quickly. Human Resources has a responsibility to ensure that when you come to work that you are able to perform your duties to the best of your ability with all the support around you, and that includes ensuring that you are in a safe working environment, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I suppose that addresses like workplace bullying, but even people who might be at schools and suffering from school bullying or cyber bullying, they can also, there's often been incidences where some of those students have unfortunately then gone and committed suicide because it got to them and they felt like there was no hope for them.
And in some cases I know that there's been, with young children at school, they've reported to the teacher and the teacher's not really taken it seriously. And I think that's when, I would encourage all young people to speak to their parents, and for parents to be always actively involved and listen closely to what's happening to their child. There are situations where there's children will exaggerate, and you do have to sometimes read between the lines. But if there's, you have a situation where children don't want to go to school, or they're feeling sick every morning that they've got to get up and go to school, that's usually a sign that something is not quite right, and parents need to be on their guard and watch that very closely. If there is even a slight thought that there might be a problem, to go to the school and have a chat with the teacher, and even perhaps be there before and after school just to observe what's going on, because the before and school situation is where a lot of this stuff happens.
Yeah, but often a person who's, I suppose, a victim of bullying doesn't necessarily realise that they are being bullied, and they just feel that maybe they're just not good enough.
No, that's right.
Maybe they're just different, and for whatever reason they don't fit in. They feel isolated and ostracised, but they don't realise that they're actually being bullied.
No, that's right. I think there are situations where some people feel, young people particularly, can feel, well, it must be something about me, or, I must be a real geek, and I'm attracting this sort of attention, or I don't dress like everyone else, so it's my own fault. That's not the case. No one should be subjected to treatment which makes them feel bad and not be able to live their life with joy and be normal.
Yeah.
We all have a right to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So Marie, how can we learn to love our enemies? I suppose, if someone is a victim of bullying, it's pretty hard to overcome that and sort of still forgive and forget, I suppose.
It is very, very difficult to love someone that is treating you very badly and inappropriately. However, and this is probably not from a HR perspective, this is probably from a mummy perspective, because I have 3 children. I've always told my children, if someone is treating you very badly and being rude to you, in the face of adversity, if you are polite back, it is almost impossible for that person to maintain that behaviour. It is very difficult to be ugly to someone who's being sweet to you. Is that turning the other cheek? Not necessarily. That's a little bit of a strategy of how to manage that situation. But we need to remember we all have a right to be happy and to be treated with respect. But the bully is usually a person that's got some serious psychological problems too, and they need help. So unless you do something about it, that person's not going to get help.
Which is really interesting, because often the victim feels that they're the ones who are being treated unfairly and they're the ones who are being bullied. But like you touched on, sometimes it's the bully who actually needs help
As well. And because we get so...
themselves.
It's with victims, and we get so worked up in the emotional reaction that we don't have time to think about where is this coming from. And in any situation where you have to report it or record it, it's very, very important to document a bullying situation. You make sure that you keep the emotional aspect out of it, which is very difficult.
Absolutely, and to stay objective.
To be very objective, because once the emotion takes over, it is very, very difficult to rationalise the situation and to get proper help, because you're letting all the emotion cloud the issues.
Okay. Well, I suppose for people watching us tonight, what advice have you got for either people who've been bullied or people who are maybe bullies themselves?
I guess the only advice that I have is that you have to make sure that you are always treated with respect. If you feel as an individual that you are not being treated fairly, with respect, and it's impacting on where you want to be and what you want to do, whether it be work or school, then you need to do something about it. By the same token, with a bully, they don't always realise their behaviours are impacting badly, and the fact that it gives them a sense of empowerment, sometimes that's their only way to feel self-confident. So they're not probably going to realise that they need help. It's only through the process of the victim taking action that that other person will get the assistance that they need.
Okay. And finally, Marie, any coping mechanisms or strategies that could help people
In a bullying situation?
Yeah, in a bullying situation.
Okay. I guess deep breaths, take a step back, try and assess what's happening to the other person, but make sure that you report it. You need to take action, because without doing something, it won't change. It probably will get far worse.
Yeah, and drinking lots of water, I suppose, helps a lot.
Well, I guess yes, hydrating helps in that situation. Exercise, because it means you can clear your head and keep perspective and be objective about what you plan to do. But it definitely needs to be taken further. Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your time tonight,
My
Marie.
pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
So Mina, how have you been going recently?
Been having a really tough time.
Tough time? At school?
Yeah,
Are people bullying you?
yeah, all the bullies.
All the bullies?
Yeah,
What are they saying to you?
they make fun of my biceps.
What? But that must be really hard.
It is hard.
How does that make you feel?
It hurts.
It hurts. Is there anything else they say to you?
They think my glasses are pink. They're brown.
I can see that they're brown, but each one has their own perception.
They don't like my curls.
That must hurt, because you can't change them really. No. Is there anything else that really bothers you?
My uncle. My one and only uncle. 19, 20.
Hey, big boy.
Oh, hi, Uncle.
Oh, look at you. You're so happy to see your uncle.
Yeah, happy, thrilled.
You had this for me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
they're mine.
Thank you, man. 1, 2.
Now there's intended uncle.
You want one?
Yeah. Well, they're mine, so can I have it?
But I'm guest. I'm guest.
Then have a seat.
Yeah, have one.
Good one.
I'll be nice. Have half.
No, sorry.
Half is. I'm Christian. I'll share. All right. Take the last piece. Take it back.
It's yours.
No, that's yours.
It's
No way.
That's right, my
It's
appetite.
yours.
It's that first.
I will never take it back.
Fine.
You gotta take it.
Quite alright.
I'm your uncle. Where's your mum?
She went.
I'm gonna tell her that you're refusing to take chocolate from your uncle. What, is this just because you go to the gym or something? You think you can just say no to your uncle, Keda?
Uncle, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Look at these muscles.
Yeah, they're great.
And I don't go to the gym.
Oh, Euro.
But you, lifting this bottle, thinks you're going to the gym, yeah?
You've got to start somewhere, Uncle. You've got to start somewhere.
I need to drink after the chocolate. I'm not gonna go buy something.
Oh, look, to be honest, you already had the chocolate. That's my coat.
No way. That's it. If it's in my hand, it's in my hand. Not coming back.
You want anything else before you go?
That phone looks really good.
Nah, look, that's a present. It was a
Is
present
that,
from you.
is that the new one?
It's relatively.
Hey, what's wrong with you, man? You got a face of another guy on it. That's really bad. Why? Anyway, well, when you talk to your uncle, the first thing you gotta do is put your legs down. Respect your uncle.
Just relaxing, I'm sorry.
Just because you got the curls doesn't mean you can keep your leg up in front of me, Kevin. And what about those glasses?
What about them?
What, you think you look hot with them, young?
They help me see.
You can't see. Don't even try. You need big ones like this big if you want to see. Give it to me. Let me see. Because I can't see too.
How are you going to use my glasses?
I want to see if I'm talking to you or your sister. You look like your sister. Yeah. Well, you are getting tougher, and I'm very happy about that. But this is your ideal example. This is what you want to reach. I've always been your model. Yes, don't touch it. With plenty of Tim Tams in there. All right. How many Tim Tams have you got? I rescued you.
Well, I haven't had any yet.
I came at the right time. If I came late, you would have finished it. And you would have had the six-pack that I have.
Am I supposed to thank you?
Yes, of course. Am I a stranger? I'm your uncle. No, I don't like this thank you. I want a good thank you. Show me that you really thank me.
How about a hug?
No. No hug from you, mate. You never liked me, I know it. And you know what? I never liked you.
This guy.
Anyone else that bothers you at home?
My uncle really bothers me. He calls me tough guy. He doesn't understand. I'm a gentle soul, you know? I really don't like that uncle.
Other than your uncle, anyone else at home that treats you not so nice?
My grandma. She's demanding. She's rude. She's inconsiderate. You don't know the half of it. You don't know what she's like. When your father
Hi, Mina. All you do.
Teta.
Hi, Teta.
Yes.
This way.
Hello, Teta.
All you do is you just drink soft drink, thinking that Coke Zero has no sugar. It has artificial sugar.
Teta, you drank all the laxative tea. There's nothing left for me to drink.
You are so rude with me. Look up the Kentucky Fried Chicken for me in this yellow book, so we can have 2-piece feed. You ain't getting nothing.
And how many times do I have to tell you, Teta? This is not how you order KFC, Teta.
How do I order the KFC?
How? You have to go into the drive-thru.
Me with this drive-through the KFC?
Teta, what? We're fasting anyway. Why do you want KFC?
I don't fast. I slow. I very slow. I will look it up myself.
Can I go back to study now, Teta?
K.
I have an exam tomorrow.
K. What is before K?
I don't know, Teta.
Tell me what is before K. Sing with me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J!
Okay, Teta, that's J.
J.
Teta, can you do this somewhere else? You're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way.
Oh, it's not in Arabic. Okay. Okay. Okay, call them for me. Call them for me. Oh, extra crispy.
That's what you're not calling KFC.
What is this?
That's clack rubber.
Look them for me.
Teta, I told you this is not how you order KFC.
Then do the right thing and get the piece for me.
We'll get pizza. How does pizza sound? We can get pizza. We'll get pizza.
Oh my God, my one and only God. I am hungry and I need the crispy chicken.
I'll see what I can do, Teta. I have an exam tomorrow, but that's okay. I'll drive all the way to KFC so you can get your 2-piece meat.
You will never be good in that school, ever. All you do, you drink, you eat, sugar, 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 you like a Teletubby.
Why are you saying all these horrible things?
I'm not saying anything horrible, I just say the truth. The truth, because only the truth will set you free.
It's tough dealing with people who don't respect you as a person. And I think there are some techniques I can give you, and we'll work on some of your issues in the next session. Is that okay?
Sounds good, Doctor. Perfect.
Hey guys, remember that it is not only the person being bullied that needs help, but also the person who is bullying. They may have had their own troubles in their lives. It is important to show love and support to the person bullying as you would support the victim. Look out for others and don't be afraid to speak up. If someone is doing wrong, or if you know that someone is being bullied or mistreated, bullying has an impact on one's life and it is totally unacceptable. The person being bullied will probably feel isolated or rejected. They would feel worthless and like no one cares for them. Showing compassion and even just listening to the bully and or the victim may be the light in their darkness. If you've been a victim of bullying, we understand it can get pretty tough. It can be psychologically and emotionally draining. The bully might say things or treat you in a way that makes you think or feel that your life is useless. But have you ever stopped and wondered what God thinks of you? Rest assured, you're extremely important. Amazing, unique, and irreplaceable to God. After all, He did come down, was crucified, and died on the cross for you. Lastly, seek help. We understand that it can be extremely difficult to reach out for help. A trained professional can provide you with a safe environment to talk and express your concerns. They can help alleviate the psychological effects of bullying. As it is mentioned in Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you and you shall hold your peace. So that's my top 5 pointers for this week. Back to you, Maddie.
Hi again. In one of his recent Christmas speeches, His Eminence, Metropolitan Bourguignon, said, Jesus called for love, tolerance and brotherhood.